Hi guys, in today's video we're going to talk about the current growth that we're seeing in the crypto market, and we're going to look at what the data and different experts suggest as to what the future holds for crypto. We're also going to do a deep dive into a few different topics regarding crypto technology. Among others, we're going to talk about Ethereum 2.0. But before we do that, give me a few seconds to shill my channel. Listen, I've recently come back from a hiatus, and it would mean everything to me if you could spend a few moments to like and subscribe my channel if you like what I do and would like to see more of it. Thanks a lot. Okay, so for some time now, we've been able to witness the rapidly advancing adoption of digital assets in the international space. There is no denying that the technological solutions used in them for many countries represent a huge innovation and a great step towards improving and modernizing the national financial system. The adaptive dynamics can also be seen in the cryptocurrency arena. It is one of the fastest adopted and growing technological fields, at the same time having huge potential for innovation. This, among others, is the reason why regulations related to digital assets are currently being worked on in many parts of the world. Adoption is also taking its toll on the crypto asset space itself. Developers are constantly working to continually improve this technological space, making every effort to make it favorable to both people and the environment, and much more accessible and useful to the general public, rather than exclusively reserved for a small fraction. Despite the relatively harsh cryptocurrency winter and the fact that the digital asset market has not been very colorful in recent times, this adaptation could not be stopped, and today we already know the date of a very groundbreaking event which probably became one of the reasons for the currently recorded and sustained increases of the crypto asset marketplace. I am of course talking about the set exact date for Ethereum's transition from proof of work to proof of stake model, which has been in the works since 2022. Why is this such an important and groundbreaking event, and what connections does it have, not only with the cryptocurrency market, but also with the traditional exchanges and the economy? We'll talk about this in today's Fresh News Review. Okay, let's start today's review with some very positive news about the cryptocurrency market. The crypto market has once again reached a total market cap of around $1 trillion. Of course, this is not some outstanding number, even less so from the perspective of the market losing at least $2 trillion during the bull market. No less, the return of the total market cap to $1 trillion is quite a positive development. It's also a psychologically important number if you think about the way investors think and the way they make decisions. A lot of them are based, especially when we're talking about retail investors, they're based on emotions, and seeing the crypto market cap above 1 trillion is a sign of resilience and stability, and the fact that even though skeptics and critics would like to see Bitcoin fall to zero, it just shows the reality that this asset, the crypto assets, are grounded enough that they'll probably never fall as much. And while ups and downs that we'll discuss in a second are natural, it's not something that will lead to the total destruction of the cryptocurrency market as some like to think. So does this mean a return to the bull market, or is it the other way around? There's no denying that this whole upward trend is being led by the aforementioned Ethereum, which recently set a specific date for the transition from the proof of work to the proof of stake mechanism, which in my opinion has a great potential to revolutionize virtually everything we know and love about the digital asset space. Tim Bako, a member of the Ethereum Foundation, shared with Twitter users some information about the official start date of the merge. The start date for the transition of the world's largest smart contract blockchain from the energy-intensive proof-of-work consensus mechanism to the more environmentally friendly proof-of-stake was set for September 19th, 2022. Interestingly, since Bako's announcement, Ether has registered a 15% increase on a 7-day basis. That's the biggest jump since March this year. And while Bako's announcement of the official start date of the merge may potentially be the biggest reason for the recent increases, there are other equally important significant factors to be noted. These include FOMO, the so-called fear of missing out, which investors, especially those at the beginning of their journey throughout the world of cryptocurrencies, should be wary of. What is FOMO? FOMO is essentially the fear of missing out on a so-called opportunity of a lifetime. As a result of which, in the face of high volatility, investors sell off their assets en masse with great speed in favor of buying those currently rising or paying off certain financial obligations. And as digital assets are still relatively new and not so well understood, they are still ruled by strong emotions and adrenaline rather than rational thinking. As I said before, strong emotions for any investor, even the most experienced ones, can prove disastrous. But it is thanks to them that FOMO in the cryptocurrency market is doing really well, unfortunately. We could see this state of affairs in the recent downturns caused precisely by the massive selling off of investors' holdings and thus generating panic that deepened the declines. FOMO might have also played a role in the way we saw Ethereum rise recently. Usually the second largest cryptocurrency does not move with such great momentum. Of course, a considerable amount of growth was to be expected given the rather harsh cryptocurrency winter. Nevertheless, at this point, Ethereum beats even Bitcoin in terms of the speed of appreciation. So, some of you at this point may ask, well, okay, but what about the transaction fees? Everyone wants to know about the transaction fees. What will be the cost of them? And so let's talk a bit about how the merge, or the so-called Ethereum 2.0, will affect transaction fees. If you're more of a regular in the cryptocurrency space, you certainly know what this is all about. But for anyone who doesn't yet know, let me remind you that transaction fees, in a nutshell, represent the cost associated with getting a transaction on the blockchain, or more specifically, the amount of computing power required to complete a transaction on a ledger. A big part of the reason these fees go up is a high load on the network, and since Ethereum is incredibly popular, the transaction fees are high. And that's one of the reasons why Ethereum is planning to transition to a proof-of-stake model, as Ethereum 2.0 will improve significantly the scalability of the network. A scalability, in other words, means that the network will be able to handle a larger workload. So, it is worth revisiting our question at this point. Will proof-of-stake reduce transaction fees? And the answer isn't really that simple. In the long run, certainly such a change will lower transaction fees, but at this point, it is one of the most repeated and clickbait myths about the merge. As Ethereum's creators themselves state on the official site, transaction fees are just a product of the network's demand tied to its performance. Transaction takes place at the level of the consensus mechanism, so the cost of transaction fees will not be affected. Why is this the case? Blockchain consists of three parts: the consensus layer, the execution layer, and the data access layer. When our transaction enters the network and we make a payment, we are actually paying for the use of the execution layer. According to Ethereum's developers, the merge is an upgrade of the consensus layer only. The swap is done at the mechanism layer from proof of work to proof of stake, thus lowering energy consumption. But as it's not a piece of the puzzle we're paying for, transit in Ethereum 2.0 won't affect those costs. It seems to me that this overall change forecasts something good for us. After the last harsh cryptocurrency winter, I think we really wanted to see some growth, especially since Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Most importantly, we have already seen an official date set for the merge, and this is very, very good news, especially in the terms of cryptocurrency's evolution. Why? Ethereum is the blockchain that has the most DeFi apps. It is one of the biggest central hubs for every actor in the cryptocurrency space. So that's why this merge will help everyone in this space. And if we're already talking about the second largest cryptocurrency, it is also worth touching on the situation of the precursor of all digital assets, Bitcoin. I guess we are all waiting for the moment when BTC will rebound, especially when the jump in ETH drags most of the coinage upwards. The reason for this may be that in addition to the flipping of everything working on Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake, there is also the ongoing transfer of a large number of smart contracts that work on Terra to Polygon. In the wake of Polygon, Ethereum's competitors are also growing. I'm talking about Solana, Avalanche, Algorand, Polkadot, or Cardano. This interesting phenomenon, along with the excitement of the upcoming merge, is pulling the entire market upward. In the case of Bitcoin, the situation is not yet so spectacular, and all of those who are waiting for its revival might not see big changes for a while yet. There's no denying that Bitcoin's drop below its 200-week moving average observed since May of this year was highly dependent on public economic anxiety, triggered by the so-called specter of recession. Now, at least for the past month, Bitcoin has been moving sideways, and some technical analysts assume that we will only see an upward move with good wins in 3 to 6 months, or in the worst case scenario, as late as a year from now. And that's about it for today. Thanks for watching my fresh crypto news review. If you liked it, then I encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel. It helps out a lot. Thanks again, and see you next time.